The next topic in Python learning I want to discover is how to extract information from certain text files. But the text files can come from either local hard disk or can be downloaded from maybe a web page from the internet. And that's the one I'm going to tackle first. How to download a page from the internet, the HTML code or source code using Python. So if I open my empty file fun.py, the module that Python uses to open web pages is called urllib request. So the easiest form of the code would look like this. I need to, at the very top, import the module, which is called urllib request. Then to access the web page, I need the URL, which is the Universe Resource Locator, which is the address of the page. Let's call the variable address underscore URL, and maybe I'll go for something like HTTPS, and let's just say Trinity College Dublin.ie. So that's the web page I'm trying to download locally. Now what I'm going to do is now call that. So my HTML object, this method returns an object. It's not something like a real text that can be read. We need to actually make it readable. So, but first we need to get that object, which is this method, urllib request, that's my module name, dot the actual method used in the module, which is url open. And now what we're opening is stored in the variable address URL. So that returns an object. In fact, I'll print HTML at this point, and it's not going to work perfectly because what it returns is an object, python3 fun.py. This is an object which is not really readable for me. Let's go back to my file. Instead, I'm going to create another variable, let's say content, which equals to HTML, and the method dot read is going to create actual text that is readable for human beings. If I now print content, the HTML code, the source code of that web page should be displayed. Let's go again. However, I noticed that not all the pages are going to respond to this nicely, that they are going to actually work. Let's go ahead and see what could be a different result of my attempt to download the page. Let's open my file again and change the URL to something different. This is another page. Let's try to run the code again. Maybe clear the screen and see what we're getting. We're getting this error, forbidden. The problem is that whenever we open the web page, our web browser is sending a header that is recognizable for some applications. If that header is missing, which is the case, we're getting that 403 forbidden. So how do we handle that? Through the magic of editing, I changed my code a little bit. I just, what I found on the internet, I pasted in. So my browser header is the first variable that is created. Now, this one reads more or less what the web browser could present to the application. And that is a full user agent, information that application might require to return the page back to me. Then I created another variable called request, in which I used the same module, but my request now contains two pieces of information. So first of all, there's a method request, and in this request, so in this variable, I'm going to store the request contained in the module, which has two pieces of information: my address of the URL and my headers, which is pretending, my Python is now pretending to be a regular browser. The content is still opened, but this time around, I provide the request as the address, which now has obviously two pieces of information, and at the same time I'm going to read this, so I'm not going to do this twice. I will just request and read the content immediately. The source code is going to be stored in the variable content. Then I'm printing the content. Now the result is this. So we need to pretend we're a regular web browser. Now what's the result? If I go Python fun now, there you go, the HTML is displayed. So in the next video I'm going to try to extract some information from that file, and maybe I'll store it even locally, so I don't have to request that every time, and I'm going to try to extract some pieces of information from that source code, such as phone numbers, maybe the names, maybe emails and stuff like that.